Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you friends for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. Karma finally caught up with this entitled client. The second story. I'm not going to violate company policy because of your entitled A. Threats aren't gonna help you. The third story. I threw my manager for a loop and left them without a specialist at the beginning of the shift. That's a great feeling. The first story is, justice was served, and I was the server. One night last month I was at work waiting tables, getting people Diet Cokes. My shift had just started and the line was already out the door. My tables got sat immediately, and as per corporate policy, I approached my guests to take a drink order no later than 30 seconds after having sat down. A middle-aged couple had already brought their martinis from the bar. When I went over to say hi to get the ball rolling, they didn't even look up at me. They barked at me dismissively. We just sat down. We're not even close to being ready. Terrific. Great. I'm doing fine, thanks. Nice to see you too. Doesn't happen all the time, but I hate it when people go out to a restaurant without warning to have any sort of interaction with any other human being. You don't want to be bothered at all tonight. You don't want me to even come over and take your order? I gave them 5 minutes. Then I returned and tried to tell them the specials. They still didn't even look up at me. The man cut me off midway through the fish and said, "Why don't you come back in 5 minutes?" At this point, I was trying really hard to not appear peeved off. I went to say, okay, sure, but before I could even make it through that response, he cut me off again and said, maybe 10 minutes. And he and the woman he's sitting with just kind of extended their smiles, like they were totally conscious of how rude they were being, like they were enjoying it. Everything went as you'd imagined it would after an intro like that. They sat around for like half an hour before they even picked up their menus. They took another half hour to order, and after their empty plates were finally cleared, they stayed in my section, sat at my table for the entirety of the night. For 5 hours they camped out and drank martinis and got drunk and ignored my glances toward the check. My silent pleading to please get out of my life here. Go away and let me make some money from somebody else. They started out sitting across from each other, but as the night progressed, as they downed more booze, they wound up side to side. Then they started cuddling, then making out. It was gross. All the while I had to just stand there and watch these two get it on. I had to stand back and watch all my coworkers work, for actual customers actually making money. I'm not exaggerating when I say this was one of the worst customer experiences I've ever had as a waiter. From 5 in the afternoon until closing, they just sat there, occasionally ordering a drink, totally blocking me from selling meals, never looking up as to so much as acknowledge my presence, my existence as a human being, casually denying my need to work and make tips for a living, something impossible to do with a couple of graying lovebirds making fools of themselves in the middle of the restaurant. Cut to last night. It was the beginning of another busy Friday night at the restaurant. The bar was already packed, a line already forming at the greeter's podium, and guess who sat down right away in my section? That same couple. That same guy with that same BS smile. I didn't know what to do. My heart immediately dropped to the soles of my feet. I couldn't take another night of being fleeced by these jerks, another night of being leisurely ignored, of being used, stepped on, impotent with boiling rage, forced to smile and say thank you, sir. Very well, ma'am. The night was still early. Maybe one of the day staff would cover for me and work a double. Maybe I could fake sick. I went to one of the other waiters, someone who has worked there for a while. Is there any way of getting out of this shift, this situation? He was sympathetic. He remembered the couple from a month ago, but he gave it to me straight that I was most likely out of luck. Both the man and the woman were talking on their cell phones. I considered shoving the menu in their face, pointing right to the bottom where it says, "Please refrain from using your cell phone in the dining room." I wanted to grab a permanent marker. I wanted to add a-hole to the end of that sentence and then show it to them. But I didn't do anything. What was I gonna do? Was I gonna blow up? Get fired? Have no job? No, I couldn't do anything. I was powerless. And that feeling of powerlessness, that knowledge that these people are in complete control of my life, of my job right now, it was just coursing through my body. I was growing numb, something dying inside. I waited for them to close their phones and I put on my own BS smile. "Hello? Can I get you something to drink?" "Just water," they both said. Huh, no martinis today. Maybe they wouldn't be staying. Maybe I'm in luck. I dropped off their water. I didn't even bother with the specials. I didn't want to waste my breath. I didn't feel like giving them the opportunity to cut off or tell me to go away. But the lady chimed in. I had something the last time I was here, a salad, and she proceeded to tell me all about her previous meal. And I was sitting right there. It was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I said. No, you were here a month ago and you were sitting right there. I was your waiter. No, she told me. I haven't been here in at least 6 months. And then she looked over at the guy, who cuts in with a, well, maybe I was here for lunch. And then he looked up at me, his smile starting to break only slightly, and went, you must have remembered me. I couldn't believe how quickly the situation had reversed itself. I made direct eye contact with him and told him, yeah, I totally remember. This was unbelievable. This had to have been his wife, and the lady from a month ago must have been a girlfriend or mistress. That's why they were staying in the restaurant all night, getting drunk and making out. They had nowhere else to go. The whole thing was illicit, and now he was back in the same restaurant with his wife, and he happened to have the same waiter that he screwed over the last time. What kind of a guy brings two different women to the same place? There's this complete emotional 180. Whereas before I was peeved, ready for the worst, trying to weasel my way out of the shift, now I'm pumped. I absolutely hold the advantage. There's no way I'm going to get pushed around by this guy. Not tonight, not ever again. The couple ate their meals in like 10 minutes, paid the check, they left like a 25% tip, and they were gone. Sweet vindication. Much like a hot glass that's suddenly filled with ice-cold water, my body was reacting similarly to the extreme change in emotion and temperament. For the rest of the night I was pulsing, on edge in a good way, just slightly on top of everything. I'd been down and then right up again all in the course of like 10 minutes. It was almost too much to process. I've never had such good karma pointed immediately in my direction. Somehow the universe righted my wrong, and I showed remarkable, almost inhuman restraint. I could have totally refused to play his game. I could have been like, no, it was dinner. You two ordered a bunch of martinis. Don't you remember? You stayed all night. But that would have cheapened it. Looking back, it was all worth it for those few seconds of eye contact. That pure moment of nonverbal communication. My silent F you buddy. Just finish up and get out of my restaurant. The second story is The Tale of the Self-Entitled Witch of the West. Background. I work the night shift at a medium-sized hospital in the Midwest. The only entrance to the hospital between 20 and 6 is the ER entrance, and there's a hallway that leads to the main hospital lobby. Around 4:45, I was called to the outside of the hospital entrance to talk with an upset visitor. She had called the main hospital number demanding to speak with whoever was in charge. Our operator thought it would be best I deal with it first. I'm on the other side of the hospital, so it takes me about 5 minutes to get down there. When I got out there, I figured she was just confused about how to get in the hospital to visit a friend or a loved one. No problem. It happens now and then, and I'm more than happy to help them. Nope, this is the tale of the self-entitled witch, SEW. Me. Good morning, ma'am, how may I help you? SEW. The effing door is closed. Me. Yes, it's 5 a.m. This door doesn't open until 6 a.m. The after-hours access door is in the ER. SEW. Whatever. Just do your effing job and let me in. Me. I apologize, but as this sign, points to sign, says, this door doesn't open until 6 a.m. For the safety of the patients. You'll need to use the ER entrance after hours. Literally 60 steps away. SEW. Does it look like I care? It's effing ridiculous that I have to go all the way around. Not that far from the elevators. Just let me in. Me. I'm sorry you feel that way, but for the safety of everyone in the building, we limit access at night. You need to check in at the ER so that we know who is in the building. SEW. Whatever, I'm not going to sit here arguing with a college dropout. You need to be more accommodating to your customers. Do you have any idea how much money I spend here? If you keep talking to me like this, I'll be having a chat with your boss and you won't have a job much longer. Me. I don't care how much money you've spent here. That doesn't make you any better or give you any more privileges. I've been nothing but pleasant with you and I'm just explaining what our policies are and giving you guidance on how to get in at night. You can talk to my boss tomorrow, but he'll tell you the same thing I just told you. SEW. I want to speak to him now. I might not have you fired if you apologize right now. Me. I'm not calling my boss at 5 a.m. just because you don't like hearing the truth, and I'm not apologizing. I have work to do. If you would like to visit, you need to walk around to the ER and check in. SEW. I'm not doing that. Just let me in the effing door. Me. Then you're not getting into the hospital tonight. You have two options. You can walk to the ER and check in, or you can leave. I don't tolerate people telling me how to do my job. SEW. I don't give an SH what you like. Let me in the effing door, so help me. Me. Ma'am, I'm walking inside now and you won't be following me. I've given you your options. You need to make a decision. Have a nice night. Conclusion. She did call my boss Monday morning and told him that I called her a fat a-hole who didn't have a right to be in the building, that I shoved her away from the door, causing her to fall and hurt her ankle. Poor woman. Didn't realize we have fixed cameras on all entrances, and when my boss said, "Let me check the camera footage and get back to you," she quickly admitted she lied, but she was just upset I was so mean to her. Before you say that I should have taken her information and just let her in, we have a policy for a reason. With the number of shootings and otherwise violent situations, I don't divert from the policy. And the last story is quitting the job in the middle of the shift. Background: I'm a licensed massage therapist. The average career for someone in my position is 5 to 7 years due to injury. I've been in this profession for 12 years when this happened. I can only do 3 60-minute messages in a row without a 60-minute break. I used to be able to do 4 hours in a row, but it was often abused and stretched out to 4.5 or 5 hours. This had caused me injuries and PT to be able to work. In 2020, a former coworker reached out to me and asked if I'd like to come work for her company as a massage therapist, since she was now the new spa manager. I had become self-employed doing mobile massage just before the pandemic hit. I didn't need the job. It was a way to make some extra cash and me not drive it all over. I was lied to and told there would be an extra 15 minutes between clients to wipe everything down, and clean since we were in the midst of COVID, and clients and therapists had to wear a mask. We were only paid for the massages, not the cleaning. So most therapists wouldn't add the cleaning time, and try to wipe everything down in the 3 to 5 between clients. It was a nightmare between the clients that would argue about the mask and getting the extra cleaning time. There was a note at the top that told everyone that scheduled clients how many 1-hour massages a person could do in a row before a break was needed. So I walked into work on New Year's Eve and had 7 hours of massages scheduled all back to back. No extra time to clean or any break. I went to the front desk and asked to have the middle massage moved off my books so I could have a break and only do 3 hours in a row. I was told to suck it up and they weren't going to do anything about it because it wasn't their problem. I told they had 1 hour while I was in my first massage to fix it, or it would become a much bigger problem. When I came out of that massage an hour later, I still had 6 more massages in a row. I went up front to confront the manager about this and was told that they weren't changing SH. So I grabbed my coat and told them that I quit, and they could call those 6 clients and figure it out, since it wasn't my problem anymore. I happened to pass my next client as I walked outside. She was a returning client for me and pregnant. She asked where I was going. I explained that due to the management overbooking my schedule and not giving me time between clients to clean, that I had quit. I wasn't going to potentially spread anything. This was just as the vaccine came out for COVID. Or hurt myself because this company refused to listen or care about clients and the employees. She was furious for me. I laughed as I could hear her unleash her fury at the manager that had no one else qualified to do prenatal massage. I was the only person at the time certified to do prenatal massage there. That former coworker decided to spread that I was lazy and selfish to several people. I just sent them all a screenshot of my schedule that day. I then blocked her as she tried more BS. Thanks for watching, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.